What's up, America? Time for another episode of Choir Practice. I'm out here with my co-host, my brother, Bernie. Tell them all who you are.
Bernie Helms, retired law enforcement, and just glad to be here as co-host of the show.
And we got this dude out here. I don't actually know your full name. I just call you Honey Todd.
Yeah, Todd Gerhardt.
I mean, you're very sweet, I'm sure, but it's all about the honey. We're going to talk about that today. First, we like to open up every episode with a word of prayer. Bernie and I have been lifelong men of faith, and yet we realized that we weren't executing that in every aspect of our lives, including here on the show. So, Father God, we thank you for the time that we have together. We thank you for all of these incredible men and women who have flown into our studio from all over the country to share their stories, to talk about the impact that the work that they're doing has on the law enforcement community and people who believe in this great country. God, we ask you to give us the gifts of wisdom and discernment to know how to best tell their stories. And we ask you to keep our families safe as we travel and help us to return home safe to them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I got my cool little National Law Enforcement Officer Hall of Fame hat that they hooked me up with, class of 2024. I hope you guys all go support them. They made me their Civilian of the Year, not because I deserve it, but I think they just, wanted to get hooked up with some free exposure. And it works because I like free hats. So if you guys want to send free hats, well, Bernie always complains that no one sends him stuff. So can you guys send him some stuff? Bernie, I do have a shirt for you that Warrior 12 sent over.
And I'm not reading it.
At the bottom, this is the most important takeaway. We don't always win, but we always fight. Absolutely love it. Our friends over at Warrior 12 always take good care of us.
What's this say, though? What is it? What's that say?
I don't speak Irish, bro. Do I look Irish to you? I'm not Irish. What do you want me to tell? I can read this one for you. I like this one. Trusting God, not politicians. Ain't that the truth?
That's good stuff.
All right, let's talk.
Yeah.
What do we have going on?
Well, my name's Todd. I'm the co-founder of Make Honey Great Again. It is a 16-ounce bottle of pure raw honey, and a bottle that looks just like President Donald J. Trump. We travel the country, and we donate the majority of our profits. 25% of our revenue goes to different charities. We're here today to help you guys raise money. We were out today at the house that we got to saw. You gave us a tour to help those police officers that need the mental help and all that. It's a big bill, but people, we help a lot of different groups across the country, and they feel like they're a patriot when they get this honey. And it's not a T-shirt, it's not a hat, it's not a bobblehead. It's something that people actually use. They reorder. So when they go to makehoneyGreatAgain.com, they'll punch in promo code LET for you guys, and then we will hopefully get that house funded for you out there.
I love it. So here's the idea. We've been blessed to share the stories of countless wounded officers over the years. A lot of my friends have been wounded in the line of duty, whether it was being shot or stabbed or run over or whatever. I mean, horrible incidents. I think right away about Houston Gas, 12-gauge shotgun blast to the face, right?
We talked about that today.
Yeah, and Houston has worked for years to help other wounded officers. Well, we wanted to do our part to take care of these guys and sort of love on them. And so we're working on a plan to have this house that's going to be used for wounded officer retreats where they come out. We'll have like 8 of them a month. We're going to bring out a police chaplain, a PTS expert, a myofascial release expert, and just sort of love on these guys. It's got a gym, a sauna, hot tub, hiking trails around there.
Great view up on the mountain.
Yeah, awesome view.
Yeah.
But they've got to pay for their own flight to get out here because you know
Some
how
skin in the game.
Right. It's very easy to commit to something and then blow it off if you don't have a little skin in the game, but they've got to be willing to share their stories. Mm-hmm. And that is what we do at law enforcement today. That is why Bernie jumped on board with our family here. Not only is he unpaid, but it actually costs you a lot of money because you are always buying me presents and food and drinks and everything.
Yeah, keeping you in line.
And keeping me in line. That's a tall order, man. But you got on board because we want to tell these stories, right?
Well, we want to help law enforcement officers. It's so important, whenever we have those guests, I take pride in being neutral because that's what we do as police officers. We are neutral people. We go to, the craziest calls to just your everyday calls, and we have to be neutral. And that's so important. And it's important for our society to see law officers in good sight. Because good cops hate bad cops. But we want to celebrate the good cops, and that's why I love being here.
So you're donating $5 from every one of these to the cause. Where did the concept come from to help organizations raise money with honey?
Well, I've been a fan of President Trump since 2015. I've been with him. I hosted a rally for him. We just like his messages, his policies. Maybe he's got his the way he presents it sometimes rubs some people the wrong way, but the policies. And we wanted to do something that wasn't a T-shirt or a hat or a bobble. You go to the rallies, you see all that stuff. This stuff is inside the gates at the rallies, and we want to help different people. We go on the Reawaken tour, if you're familiar with the Reawaken tour, with General Flynn and those guys, and Eric Trump and Mike Lindell. Actually, Mike Lindell has our honey. You can order the honey through him.
No, don't. Order it through us.
No,
Promo code LET.
LET. But no, a lot of different people use us, and we just wanted to help people, and we got involved. I've had this bracelet on. We do a lot of stuff for the January 6ers. And I've had this bracelet on, Justice for Ashley is Justice for All. And I met them in Nashville back in January of last year. And we take Ashley Babbitt's mom out with us, and Sarah Maccabee. I know you guys did a story on Sarah. Yep. Sarah's with me quite a bit. We just did an event in Tennessee to raise money because, you know, these poor people, look, it's all coming out now. We know what the story is and the hidden FBI agents and all that. And President Trump's going to pardon most of them, and he's going to give them reparations for ones in prison. But until we get him in there and get him, you know, we got to help these guys. And a lot of this money will go to, and other things that we're going to do with you. Kyle is also going to override into Sarah and her group, additional money coming from us to help her and her causes. She wants to do some things with some tiny houses when these gentlemen, men and women, get out. So we're just out there to help. We get groups, I mean, all over the country that call us that need help. And it is something very unique and different. So,
Todd, you said you're the co-founder.
Yeah.
Who's the other?
My partner, my business partner, is an artist, and he drew this picture. And we were talking one day, and one thing led to another. And I was doing a fundraiser for the actual guy that owns all the beehives. We have 11,000 hives in South Carolina. He's been doing this for 30 years. There's 3 guys that go out and get the honey, and it comes into these big vats, and the young ladies and gentlemen bottle it all by hand. And it's in a town, or a small town, but the county is only 38,000 people in a small rural county in South Carolina, and which is very small. And 80% live below poverty level, so it's creating a lot of jobs. You know, it's all put on by hand. It's all done. It's pretty cool. And you know, I was out one day, and you know, when the girls, they like to hear where it's going. And this one young lady, a Hispanic gal, she just started. I don't remember her name, but they feel like they're part of this because they're helping people. And she broke down and started crying. And I thought I said something wrong. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "Well, I can help my family more because they're working more hours. They're working as many hours as they can to get this stuff bottled, to get it out to different people." Dr. Stephen Turley, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
Yep.
Do you know what happened to him?
Yeah, just got demonetized.
Just got demonetized. I got a call last week from those people, his handlers, Ralph, and 1.2 million followers on his YouTube channel.
It's crazy.
Got demonetized to the tune of 1.4 million.
Yep.
Because, I mean, he's a conservative theologian, talk show host, conservative, and YouTube took him out. And I was talking to Connor, his Chris, and he said that YouTube knows that this is where he gets his message out. He's still on YouTube.
So let me tell you something about that. So Ralph and I had a conversation last week. They're rolling out an app which I highly encourage everybody to download and check out. Mm-hmm. But the same week that they got demonetized, right, we also got demonetized at law enforcement today. They told us that they detected, Chris, what was it, unusual traffic? And yet they couldn't quantify that in any way, shape, or form. We looked over all of our trends. We had 0 traffic spikes, 0 unusual traffic. They didn't take down the page. They simply demonetized it. And we're hearing about this happening all across the country, specifically with conservative outlets. My public figure page on Facebook got demonetized, saying that I was supporting dangerous organizations and individuals. There's nothing dangerous about anything that we posted unless they're arguing that law enforcement are dangerous individuals. Again, didn't take down the page, but they demonetized it. This is why back in 2020, we all remember what was happening in 2020, this thing that was going around, right? If you shared any stories about this thing that was going around, or even used the word of what it was in articles or in videos, they would pull all of the content. Mm-hmm. And so it really is a very dangerous form of censorship. And what just happened to Turley was unbelievable. And we could totally relate because it happened the same week to us.
Well, that's why we're out here, and that's why people are going to put in LET to help get this stuff, to pay these people to travel. And you travel. You just told me you had 175 flights last year. It's You know, people feel like they're a patriot because they're getting this, they're getting something. You know, we bought a couple squares when Steve Bannon did the wall back in 2017, GoFundMe.
Yep.
You know, it was $80 a square. I mean, you didn't get anything. You gave yourself a pat on the back. You felt like a patriot. Well, here you're getting something, and it's pretty cool, and it's only $20, and we're helping out different groups. You know, there's and I put in my bio, and I sent it to Chris, we're dealing with a couple out in Texas, and you guys may remember the story. Back in 2020, it's Robert and Joey Lynn Massaras. Biden's bus was driving through Texas campaigning.
I remember this.
He wasn't even on the bus. It was campaign people. And I didn't realize this story. And the cars drove up beside and they were honking and waving and whatever, get out of here and all that stuff. 8 months later, this couple and 4 other people got sued. And they go to court in June. Okay, this happened in 2020 because they pulled out a KKK law from the 1870s about how you were disfranchised. They felt like they couldn't vote because they were too scared, the people on the bus. Well, it was all BS. They're now at $200,000 in legal fees. This gentleman's a plumber. They emptied their 401k. They're not, you know, they have a code, and people, you know, help them. It's just stuff like this when we speak up. I was with Mike Lindell back in August, and I had the booth set up. We were raising money for him because at that time he was at $63 million in legal fees because of the lawsuit against Dominion when they sued him for slander for $1.3 billion because we know, you know, the election and all that stuff. And a guy came up to the booth and he saw it, and his phone rang. And there's a pastor named Pastor Stephen Lee. He's out of Chicago. And the story just broke. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pastor Stephen Lee. He's a Lutheran minister in Chicago. And he went to Atlanta to meet with the 2 ladies that were when they told everybody to leave, and the 4 of them stayed. He's been called America's pastor. He was at 9/11. He was at Columbine. He was, he's a former NCIS agent. He's just a small pastor. He's 7 years old. He drove to Atlanta to meet with Mrs. Freeman and her daughter. And he went up on the front porch steps and knocked on the door to pray for her and to get the truth. He got charged. He's one of the 18 co-conspirators with Trump down in Atlanta because it was voter intimidation. And they called us to come in and help with the honey. And I mean, it did okay, but it's stuff like that. He just went down to pray for him. He's been called America's pastor. I mean, this is what he does. And voter intimidation. And they told him, he didn't even talk to him. The daughter says, hey, we don't need a pastor. We're all set. And he left. And next thing you know, he gets indicted back in August of this past year. We do a lot with the J6ers, and you talk about prayer. I got a phone call from a couple out in Texas. They went to 9/11, or they went to January 6th. I met them at a Reawaken tour. They came to Mason Doral. They're 53 and 55, and they were in the back of the crowd. They didn't go anywhere, and they were standing there holding hands with this other couple they just met. All they were doing was praying. That's all they did. And I said, what happened? She goes, I felt piercing pains on my right wrist. And they had their heads down. And they looked up, and the officers were beating them with their batons to try to, quote, break them up. Well, you push yourself away and you try to defend yourself. They got charged with assaulting a federal police officer. They just got indicted and charged, and they're waiting for their sentencing. They're looking at 20 years in prison. They didn't do anything. They didn't. I don't know. We see this all the time, and, you know, it's just, we got to speak up. You're speaking up. I mean.
You know, what's kind of cool about this, man, is that you're helping a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. Right. But it empowers nonprofits and organizations to connect with the community that they serve by giving them something delicious and getting a great benefit for it. Right. It's really good honey. I mean, whether you're having breakfast or foreplay, I mean, there's a lot that you could do with honey. So I highly encourage everybody to check it out. MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com. Right. Promo code LET.
LET. Turn this one off, please.
$5 from every. $5
We're going to fund that.
bottle.
The bees are going to save America. We're going to fund that house out there.
I knew I would crack you in this episode somehow. I think your caffeine is winding down a little bit. Any parting thoughts?
You know, I mean, I have my own opinions on J6, and I'm not going to express them, but I support anyone who is supporting what they believe.
Right. Look, there were some people did some bad things. There was no doubt, but there were some that didn't. Yep. Sarah McAbee's husband, I mean, a police officer from Tennessee. I know you know Sarah's story and all that. Yeah. He just got 72 months or 70 months trying to say he saved 2 police officers from getting their you know what kicked. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, he literally went up there to help these guys out.
He saved 2 police officers. He was on his hands and knees trying to save Roseanne Boylan, giving her chest compressions. He didn't. I think he broke his shoulder in that. I mean, it's just.
Well, I think one of the problems that we have in society, to Bernie's point here, is that everything is so inflammatory, right?
Yes.
I had done a video. Remember the Charlottesville situation? This
Yeah.
was years ago.
Yeah.
When that whole situation broke, I did a Facebook Live, and I said, listen, we got to allow law enforcement to be able to do their jobs here and investigate what happened, because the woman who was killed wasn't a black woman or a white woman or a Hispanic woman or an Asian. It was an American.
Right.
Period. It didn't matter what she looked like.
Right.
And we have to allow cops to be able to do their job and investigate and figure out what actually happened here. Like, we know that there were buses filled with paid agitators who were brought up. That's not disputed anywhere. So who did this? Was it someone who was representing Nazis or the KKK or Antifa? We don't know. But that's why we have law enforcement. Allow them to do their job, because that woman and her family deserve justice, regardless of what she looked like, regardless of the circumstances. And then I finished up by reading Paul Harvey's If I Were the Devil. Well, I got destroyed in the media. They came after me saying that I was a Charlottesville denier and I was supporting Nazis. And I said, no, I mean, did you not? The Facebook Live is still up there. But because there was such a strong reaction in general to that incident, because emotions ran high on both sides, it was very easy to zoom in and target and attack, and we have lost. It goes back to an earlier conversation we had about losing our humanity, right? And so if we can support great organizations, in this case, wounded officers,
and that's what we're here for.
We're
That's
all
what
in.
we're here
So
to do that.
super grateful.
Yeah.
MakeHoneyGreatAgain.com, promo code LET.
Just go to LET, and we'll send you guys a check, and we'll be with you at the concert. I know you won't be there, but the police concert up in Virginia, May 18th. That's the final week of Police Week, so we're going to have a big booth there, and the money's going to go to your organization.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just here to help.
Cool.
And keep our chins up and shoulders back.
Awesome.
All right,
Brother,
good
thank
stuff.
you for coming out.
Oh, beautiful. Guys, yeah, good stuff.
Guys, thank you all for watching. Thanks for hitting that share button. God bless you all. God bless America. And Bernie's mom, I'm sorry about my bad joke.
The joke turned. She's already turned it off. So. Not you.
Yeah.
Him.
Good?
Good.
Awesome.
All right.